We thank everyone for coming. As we know, it's every Saturday Halaqa. So today the topic is gonna be performing Salah. The Salah, the thing that is important in our life. It's not just important, it's connected to our life. Because we know that Salah every day we're gonna be doing. So today, those who are gonna take the halaqa or lead the halaqa, they're gonna be talking about prayer, how to perform prayer. Maybe we may have some mistakes in our prayers. So make sure you try to find your mistake. Don't just look at it like that. You're gonna find this, I never do this. Today, after today, I'm gonna do it. So you're gonna try to do that. So inshallah, we're gonna start it with recitation of the Quran. Muhammad Rami is gonna read, inshallah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا.
So I decided today that we are going to take it back to the basics. Like he said, we all know how important the prayer is in this world and in the hereafter. There's like way too many hadith telling us how important it is that we make sure that our prayer is good. You know, that it's the difference between us and the non-Muslims, that on the day of judgment, the first thing that will be checked out of your deeds is your prayer. And if your prayer is good, then you're good. Everything else is good. If your prayer is not good, then don't even worry about the rest of it. It's not going to be good. So it's something we got to take serious. We got to always check and make sure that we're doing it right. In action, in intention, in everything. You know, don't just look around. Don't just look and see what you see people do and then, you know, we're not monkeys, you know. It's not monkey see, monkey do. You know, you got to brain. Ask questions. You know, learn as much as you can about the prayer, always. So that's what inspired me to choose the prayer as a topic today, just to make sure that we have it down as best as we can. You're about to start praying, right? Who can tell me what the first thing you have to do when you're going to start praying? The very first thing.
You have to have intention.
Well, yeah, you got your intention, but like, I mean physically starting to pray. You got everything else down. The very first thing you got to do to get into the prayer.
You gotta see that sign.
No, we're past that, right? You're literally about to start praying. Very first thing to get into the prayer. You got the adhan, you got the iqamah, you got everything else. Anybody else?
You
Well, yeah, but how?
Oh.
How do you start? One more before I, tell everybody. You got it? Okay. That's called the takbiratul ihram, right? The very first takbir, the opening takbir. And if you don't do that correctly, you didn't even start the prayer. Like, it don't even matter what you do after that. You didn't even start. So you got to make sure that is correct. Right? Can I have Sheikh Ali come show us how to do the takbiratul ihram, please?
Look how he's standing, right? Before you start your prayer, you got to make sure everything is good first so that you don't have to move around too much or think about too many things while you're in the prayer besides the prayer, right? So, now I'm going to say a lot of things, but I don't actually have all the hadith in my head. For those of you who know hadith, you know where I'm getting it from. Also, there are multiple ways to do the prayer correctly. There are different hadiths detailing how the Prophet ﷺ did the prayer. Some parts are going to be different. Like, there are different hadith detailing different things that the Prophet ﷺ used to do. But we're only going to go through one way to do it. And for those of you who know the hadith for the other ways, you're free to do what you know. So, stance is good, right? We know, especially if you're praying in Jama'ah, your feet are not supposed to go past your shoulder's length when you stand, which is a big mistake we see a lot in the Jama'ah. You have people, they stand with their feet too far apart. Especially in the first rak'ah, everybody's feet is connected like this, but then you get up for the second rak'ah and everybody's feet is already like this. Now you got gaps in the line. But we'll get to that a little later. Right now, stance is good. Begin the takbir, please. Right there. Wait. Yeah. The takbir itself. Just hands up.
You see how it's
Hands up. Too much. So we're not doing, we're not soldier. Well, we are, but like when you're doing a takbir, one of the most important things is to make sure that your palms are facing the qibla, right? And then that they're somewhere between the ears and the shoulders. What? Your hands are gotta be somewhere between your ears and your shoulders. Facing the qibla. Everything, all part of you is still supposed to be facing the qibla anyway, but especially the palms. You gotta keep it out, right? A lot of times we see, you see a whole bunch of different things, but the hands must be straight. This is the takbiratul ihram. This has to be down. This has to be really good. Otherwise, you're not even in the prayer, right? Mm-hmm. Right, you do the takbir. You say Allahu Akbar, of course. And now you've entered the salah. So, after the takbiratul ihram, you're in the prayer. What's the next step? Oh, yes, the dua. We're not going to go through we should definitely say the duas. What's the dua? Do you know the dua? You don't know the dua? Who knows the dua? Go ahead.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وتبارك اسمك وتعالى جدك ولا إله غيرك. This is the first dua you say as soon as you enter the salah, even before the Fatiha. So, as soon as you say that, you read Surah Al-Fatiha, and then you read a surah of your choice. Or even if you don't want to do a full surah, do a couple of ayahs from your memory. And then we go into ruku. Okay. Now we have the ruku. Notice how straight his back is. They say in hadith that Prophet ﷺ's back used to be so straight that if he was to put water on it while he was in ruku, it would not fall off. We can't get that level of perfection, but we try our best.
The Prophet ﷺ's hands used to be spread out over the knees. The Prophet ﷺ's hands would be
Spread out over his knees like he was grasping it when he's in ruku. You have to let your body settle into each position that you're doing. Don't just boom, 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 get it done. That's not how it works. You missed out on the point. You missed out on it. Right? Settle into each position. Make sure that it's good before you go on. Also, if you miss the ruku behind the imam, you've missed that rakah. You gotta put that out there. A lot of people think that you have to go through the whole, sujood. If you come see them actually starting like the second rakah, that you missed the first rakah. You've missed the first rakah at this point. If they get up from ruku, before you join the prayer, you've missed the first rakah. Can you come help us with this demonstration, Sheikh Abu? Okay, so something that people do when they're trying to join the Jama'ah and Salat is that if they catch them in ruku like this, they'll just come in, boom, boom. Try to show us how people normally do it. They just come in straight into the ruku, right? No, that's how it's correctly done. Yeah. Straight into ruku. This is not the way to join the Salah. At this point, you haven't even joined the Salah yet. Okay, I can stand up for the time. But if you do that, you haven't even joined the Salah yet. Another requirement for Takbiratul Ihram, you have to be up straight. I don't know if I mentioned it the first time, but you have to be upright. Do the Takbir. There are some scholars who say that the Takbiratul Ihram is enough, and you don't have to do the second Takbir that takes you to Ruku. There's some scholars who say that. So you can do the Takbiratul Ihram, make sure that's good, and just go straight to Ruku. That, or you can do both Takbirs, but you must do the Takbiratul Ihram. That's the main part. There's no need to rush. Once the prayer is finished, just make up what you missed. Yeah. There's no rush to catch the ruku or the rakah. You make up what you missed when the prayer finishes. Because in your effort to try to hurry up and get in, you won't even have started the prayer. You're making the movements, but you're not in the prayer. It won't even count towards your salah. So, right? So, you go to ruku. Show us the ruku once more, please. Just go into it. Yeah. Like I said, back straight, hands grasping the knees. The Prophet ﷺ said in ruku, try as much as you can to praise Allah in the ruku. The ruku is where you praise Allah, and then the sujood is where you make dua. You ask for things. So you said Subhana Rabbiyal Azim 3 times. Now rising from ruku. Yes. Straight again, right? You're standing up straight again, like you was when you started the prayer. Scholars are, there's a difference of opinion on whether you can hold your hands again or you can let them go. It's up to you what you do out of both. But believe the majority of scholars do say you hold your hands again as you did when you started the prayer. When you stand up straight again, there's another dua. Anybody else? Well, yes, that's to come out of the ruku, yes. Hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. That is a dua you say. There's other duas, but we'll cover the basics, just the very basics. So, that is a dua you say when you're upright again. And from there you go to sujood. First, in the hadith, Prophet ﷺ said we should do sujood on 7 parts of our bodies. Can anyone name one of them? Or, because a lot of them come in pairs, so technically 2. The forehead and the nose, yes. That's together as one. Ibrahim? Knees, yes, the 2 knees. So we have the forehead and nose, that counts as 1. The 2 knees counts, that's 1 each. So now we got 3. The 2 hands, that's 5. The toes, and that's 7. On both feet. So we have 2 knees, 2 hands, 2 feet, and then nose and forehead. Both forehead and nose must be on the floor, and every other part as we mentioned. Notice the toes. They're facing the Qibla. You have to press down on them a little bit. It's gonna be uncomfortable at first before you get used to it. For those who haven't been doing it, but you will get used to it if you keep doing it. The toes facing the Qibla, the fingers face the Qibla. You must always be facing the Qibla. You have to be mindful of that while you're praying. You must always be facing the Qibla. What dua do we say in sujood? Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, 3 times. Again, many dua in sujood. As a matter of fact, there's no end of dua in sujood. So make it as long as you possibly can. This is when, like I said, you're closest to Allah, so you can ask for anything you want. If you can't say like in Arabic, don't say it with your mouth, but you can make the dua in other languages. But when you're doing it in other languages, you do not say that with your mouth in the prayer. That is something you keep inside of you. But any dua you know in Arabic, from the Quran, from the Hadith, you can say that with your mouth in the sujood. Now we rise from sujood. But again, left foot, you sit on that, you have it folded under you like that, and then you have your right foot out, your toes pressed down facing the Qibla. In this position, what dua do we say? Give some, okay, you. Rabbil Firli. Rabbil Firli. So twice, I believe in some hadith, correct me if I'm wrong, they say thrice, but I believe mostly twice. But there's other duas too. Like Rabbil Firli, Warhamni, Wahdini, Wajurni, Wa'afini, Warzuqni, Warfa'ani. And I believe a couple of other duas. But mainly Rabbil Firli. Basics. From there, sujood again. Back in sujood, it's just like the first one. You say the same duas. Make it as long as possible. This is your closest you get to Allah. So make it count. All the same parts, everything, same. This is the first rakah, right? So some people think once they get up from this position, then you've missed the first rakah. You've already missed the first rakah by the time they're here. Once they raise their backs from ruku, you've missed the first rakah. Now we're up for the second rakah. There are 2 ways that I know to get up from sujood back into standing. There's one where you get up directly, and there's one where you sit first, and then you get up. We're all young here, so you should be getting up directly. You know, if for anyone who's healthy and you can do it, directly is the best way. But once, you know, if there is an issue, there's an injury, or you're old, then you can sit first and then get up. Now, we're men, so it's actually wajib for us to pray in the masjid unless we have a valid excuse, which is why I'm having them demonstrate together to show you how to stand in the saf. So, the saf, the line, feet to feet, shoulder to shoulder, right? The feet depends, you know, not everybody has the same foot size. But you should make sure that the front of your feet are lined up. It doesn't matter what the back of the feet are like, but make sure that the front are lined up. And then the entire feet are pressed together, right? Same thing with the shoulders. The lines are supposed to be packed. You're not, like everybody, you know, especially today, people want like more space, more comfort. That's not what the lines are about. The lines are supposed to be packed. We're supposed to be together. We're like an army. We're soldiers, right? This is exactly how Muslims, when we go to battle, this is how tight our ranks are. This is how the angels came down during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. When they was coming to help them with the battle, this is how they was coming down. It was packed like that. We got to be close. And when our ranks are like this, our hearts will be brought together as well. So there's importance in the way we stand and pray. The more distance we put between us and prayer, the more distance is going to be between our hearts in our lives. And as Muslims, we always got to try to find a way to be closer to one another. All right? So, remember the stuff. for anyone coming into the prayer and they already started and you're going to join the South, it's not up to the person who's praying to try to connect their feet with yours or stand with you. You're the one coming into the prayer. You find out where the line is and you stand according to the line. And you fix yourself with the line. It's like some people will come in and they'll stand right here. Yeah. Some people will come and stand like this next to the line. You're praying by yourself with the jama'ah somehow. Like, this doesn't count as being with the jama'ah. You're still by yourself. You have to come in, check, before you start praying. Take your time and make sure it's good. Line up your feet, line up yourself, get in, and then start your prayer. Make sure it's good. And everybody coming into the prayer has to keep this in mind and do this as they come in. So second rak'ah is basically the same as the first rak'ah. You know, you read, this time you don't read the dua that you did when you first started the prayer. After the first sujood, you get up, you sit, you say Rabbil Firli twice, you go back into sujood. When you come up this time, you sit like this. You have the finger out. Now, scholars have a lot of opinions on how the finger should be. Don't make too big of a deal of it. But just have one out. I might know another one. It's all correct.
التحيات لله الصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله.
So, like I said, if that's not the one you know, that does not mean the one you know is incorrect or the one he just said is incorrect. We might all know different ones, right? There's many different versions. So, if this is the last rak'ah, now we get to the salam, right? Well, after the tashahhud, after you say tahiyatulillah, then you do prayers on the Prophet. That is mandatory. Saying Allahumma salli ala Muhammad, to the end, that is mandatory part of prayer. Your prayer is not complete without it. You don't have to, it's not mandatory to say in the first tahiyah if it's 4 rak'ah or more, or like 3 or 4 rak'ah. If it's more than 2 rak'ah, it's not mandatory to say in the first, but you can. You can say in the first if it's more than 2 rak'ah. But the last one, that's the mandatory one. If you don't say that, your prayer is not complete. That is a pillar of the prayer.